Well, hello everybody and welcome to our Friday live stream. Thank you so much for joining us today. I don't know what the weather's like with you guys, but it is so hot here with us today. So you have to excuse this slight damp appearance that we have today. Especially as Laura's got me doing a lot of exercise today. I'm actually climbing up steps, so getting my exercise in this week. Anyway, welcome to our Friday live stream. So for those of you who haven't met us before, my name is Debbie. I tend to be this side of the camera doing various things with flowers and Laura is my partner in crime and she's the one that's normally behind the camera.
Hi
you don't see her, but you will occasionally hear her.
Definitely don't see me.
So today we're going to feature unique backdrops. So backdrops are really gaining popularity, from living walls to minimalist hoops, hearts, wall decorations, drapes for photo booths. Really good for weddings, and not just weddings actually, events in general. A really fantastic way of bringing the outside in. You can completely transform a blank wall. And what happens really is if you create something that's got a bit of impact, so by creating a wall, one big item will give you a wow factor. If you do lots of tiny little arrangements, they can sometimes get lost within a biggish venue. So by creating that one impressive back wall, you get that wow factor. Okay, so my ingredients today are Soft Ruscus, also got some Eucalyptus Cinerea, and my toolkit, which for those of you who know me well, you'll probably know that my DIY skills are not actually particularly fantastic. I normally get warned off using power tools and any kind of heavy pieces of equipment. I've been allowed to use a hammer today. So we've got a hammer, we've got some little U-hooks. I'm going to decorate the wall when I've finished it with this beautiful soft organza. This is a 29 centimetre wide by 25 metre roll, which we do sell on our website. It's really sheer, fantastic for creating drapes and things like that, chair sashes, big blousy bows. I'm going to use that. This is actually a cream coloured one. I've obviously got my scissors and my green garden twine. So to start with, I'm going to create some garlands that I'm then going to fix to the wall. You can probably see I've made a little bit of a start already. I've pinned the garlands that I've made onto my backdrop already. We kind of figured that it was safer to do that rather than me doing a very artistic glide off the step ladder after on camera. So obviously I have to do the health and safety bit now. So if you are using nails, hammers, step ladders, do just take care. Make sure that you do everything in the correct way. All right. So that's the end of the health and safety warning. Off we go. So our Soft Ruscus. So I'll just shunt over a bit so you can kind of see where I am.
Perfect. So I'm Laura in the background. I might be a little bit echoey, but do apologise about that. I haven't got my microphone just yet, but that's probably a good thing. So just to say a few shout outs while Debbie's just preparing the Soft Ruscus. We've got Vicky from Australia. Lovely to see you again, Vicky.
Welcome, Vicky.
We've got Lindsay, she says hello everyone, and we've also got Barbara. So make yourself known. We'd love to do some shout outs and see who's watching us. We've got 23 people watching, so
Fabulous.
Make yourself known. We'd love to hear from you. We've got Claire Morehouse, who says, finally joining a live demonstration. I think she always does the catch up, so it's nice to see you for the live. We've also got lovely Alison, joined us today. I think she's joined us before, I recognise her name.
Hi, Alison.
So yeah.
Well, welcome all lovely ladies today. That's unusual. We do sometimes get some gents watch us. Okay, so what I've done with the Soft Ruscus is I've literally just cut off the end piece that has no foliage attached. So you've got a nice end with your first branch of foliage. And then, as I'm sure you've probably seen me do numerous times before, just going to put together a garland.
We have got hundreds of videos, haven't we? But it's such a popular, I have to say, garlands are probably our most watched video on YouTube.
Well, apart from our lollipop.
Apart from our lollipop, yes, that's so true, Debbie. That is very true.
For those of you who haven't seen our hydrangea lollipop arrangement, Laura's put a little snapshot video of that. That's on our Facebook.
On our Facebook, yeah.
So do go and visit that, because it's become really popular. It's quite amazing how the most simple styled arrangement can be the most effective. Actually, that goes as well for the backdrop today, really.
Yeah,
so this backdrop. So you can probably see what I'm doing is adding one piece of foliage to the next and then just tying it in position. I'm hooking the twine between two pieces of foliage, so you can see I give that a nice hefty tug. It's not going anywhere.
So just a question, Deb. Why would you use twine as opposed to something like wire, for instance?
Wire's not biodegradable, so I mean soft ruscus will actually stay quite happily out of water for up to a week, really. So this is something that could perfectly be put into position 2 or 3 days before your event with no problems whatsoever. But obviously after a period of time when it starts to look a bit sad and you want to get rid of it, you just literally want to pull it down and chuck it away in the compost ideally. So if it's got twine on it rather than wire, the whole lot can go into your recyclable bin.
Perfect.
The trouble is if there's wire on it, you can't. So that's the plan anyway.
We've got a few questions. So how many, so for instance for the one that we sell, so the Soft Ruscus Try on the website, how many bunches do you reckon we normally get per, so how many bunches
Stems.
Sorry, how many
stems,
do you normally get in a bunch?
I normally recommend that you base your calculations on between 4 and 6. So if you do an average of 5, you're not far wrong really. This particular bunch today had 1, 2, 3, 4, it had 5. It's done on a weighted basis, that's the problem. If it's a heavy branch and it's quite long, you're probably only going to get 4 stems per bunch. If it's a little bit shorter and it's not quite so heavy, I mean, for example, I can't find a particularly heavy one at the moment, but you can see something like that is a little bit more dense perhaps than some of the slightly less dense ones. So these tend to weigh that little bit heavier. So potentially you'll just get 4 stems. But if you base, as I say, base your calculations on potentially 5 stems per bunch. Okay. Now just to show you what I mean about joining one stem to the other. So place your one piece next to the second piece and just gently bind it all the way round.
So you just literally twisting the stems around one another?
Twisting it through, yeah. And then just...
You just shunt the eucalyptus to the side just because it's so green, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's covering me up.
It's too much green.
And then take your twine and bind it round. So you take in 2 of the branches, one of the branch from the first stem and one of the branches from the second stem. So it's hooked those in, as it were, and then a double knot, and away you go. Now it's not absolutely necessary to wire in the second part of the stem, but what you can find is if it goes at an angle, that piece will poke out and it just looks a bit unattractive. So I tend to wire the second piece in as well, or string the second piece in. There we go. Because you don't really want someone to tug on it when it's on a wall and it separates.
So to create the lengths that you've done, how many stems have you put together?
So again, it depends on the stem length that you're using, but I've actually used 3 stems per piece, per garland. Yeah, 3 stems. So I've got 1, 2.
And what length are you using?
This is 100 centimetres and it's actually the TRI code. on our website. We tend to use the TRI one more probably than the import because we can actually purchase those directly, and therefore we can monitor the quality. We know exactly what we're buying, and it's always a good grade. So yeah, I would suggest going for the TRI. And it's the same actually with the eucalyptus. If you purchase the TRI coded eucalyptus, we source that independently, so you have slightly more control over the grade and the quality.
So with, especially in say this heat, would you say mist the Soft Ruscus? Is it necessary, or would you say it lasts absolutely fine?
It does last well out of water, but everything that you can possibly do to extend its life is a good thing. So yeah, just misting it is fine. I mean, if you want to get prepared and you want to make the garlands up in advance, what I would recommend you do is line a cardboard box with cellophane, lay the Soft Ruscus garland in that, soak it with water, just a spray bottle will do, and then fold the cellophane over that, put the lid on and store it somewhere nice and cool. It will last quite happily a week or more in that way. One of my other colleagues actually completely submerges her garland. She puts them in the bath, so yeah, that's fine, as long as you've got family members that are happy to share their bath with their Ruscus garlands. Okay, so I've made a couple more garlands there which I'm going to attach. There are lots of other types of and varieties of foliage that you can use. The more varieties of foliage that you add to the garlands, the more of a textured wall effect you're going to get. Asparagus plumosus works well, quite soft and frondy. Other ferns like Springii, they work very well. Eucalyptus, which I'm going to use today, that works very well. If you wanted to bring in something that's a little bit variegated, then maybe a variegated ivy, you could bind that around, but it doesn't last out of water. So anything that you're adding like eucalyptus is not happy out of water for any period of time. So what you could do is make your Soft Ruscus garlands up in advance, and then either the night before or ideally on the morning, just add the slightly softer foliage like the eucalyptus to it. Asparagus fern would be alright a couple of days before. Springii would be okay a couple of days before.
Is it much down to more so the environment that it's kept in? So for instance, if it was a barn wedding compared to say a marquee wedding, would that make a difference? Because obviously the marquees tend to be that much hotter, especially in the summer. Obviously it might be different say in the winter months.
Yeah, I mean it does have an impact. To be honest, if it's a barn that you're hiring, potentially you wouldn't have access to it until a couple of days or even the day before anyway. So you wouldn't be able to put anything up on the wall until the day before. Marquee, if it's a home marquee, then yeah, you would be able to do it a few days in advance. But marquees get incredibly hot. I worked in a marquee last year, and it got up to 32 degrees in that marquee, and the poor flowers just did not like it. And we were using hydrangea, so I had a bit of a sleepless night that night. I was up very, very early replacing some of them. Anyway, that's another story altogether. So I'm just going to show you how just to add a little bit of extra texture. So I'm going to add the eucalyptus to the Soft Ruscus garland that I've already got. Now I'm adding it in quite a fine way. If it was a table garland, I would add it in a little bit more bulky scenario, so I'd add sort of bigger branches.
Okay.
Just because this is going to create almost like lines, you don't want it to be too bulky because it's going to look, how can I explain it? So if you did a table garland, you can have big chunks of foliage all the way along because you can wind those in and amongst the salt and peppers, the glasses and all the other table accoutrements. But because this is actually going to be quite a linear structure, I'm not going to add anything too heavy and too bulky. So if you can see what I mean, I'm just adding some slightly narrower stems and tying those in. Again, the reason for tying them in is you don't want them to just fall off the wall, really. Because what will happen is once the stems start to dry out, they will actually shrink in width. So you will find if you don't tie them securely, once they've started to shrink, when they become a little bit drier, they will drop out of the twine. So just tie them nice and securely. That's also another reason why when I tie them in, I make sure that I've got it around one of the branches, just so that helps to give added security.
We've got Claire asking a question. Would you ever use anything like Professional Glory sprayed on?
Yep, absolutely. You can certainly use that. It helps to keep things looking quite nice and fresh once they've been made. I tend to use water mostly, a spray bottle with water more than anything. But yeah, Professional Glory is certainly an added benefit. Again, we do sell that on our site, so yeah, every little helps, as they say.
Would you ever use something like Leaf Shine if you would just use Soft Ruscus?
You can do. It can give you a nice glossy finish. It's not detrimental to the longevity of the stem, so yeah, you can do. It gives a much more shiny finish. Only thing I would say is...
Sorry, do apologise everyone. You give everyone a headache. So sorry.
Anything I would say about Leaf Shine is, do just be a little bit aware when you're spraying it. Anybody that's suffering from asthma or anything similar, make sure you spray it while they're out of the way, because the droplets can be quite far-reaching.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah, I think it makes the foliage look very fresh and vibrant. Possibly almost artificial in some cases, because we had some really fantastic hard ruscus in the other week that had been treated to look shiny, and the amount of customers that came in and said, is it real? So yeah, if you want to keep that very much rustic, natural appearance, I probably wouldn't use the Leaf Shine. That's my personal opinion, just to keep it looking that little bit more rustic. So nearly there with adding the eucalyptus. So you can see what I mean there about keeping it quite nice and fine, as opposed to bulky for a table garland. I think I did run through the ingredients that we were using today. I did miss out the wooden part. So the structure, I mean, for today's purposes, I've literally got a stand with some wood at the top, just to give you an illustration on how to construct it. But obviously if you have a wall, you're going to need some kind of bar or something to secure the wood to, secure the garlands to. So a wooden structure is the easiest thing to hammer nails into. However, if you've got a plastic bar or something, or a metal bar that you're using, you could always use cable ties. I'll show you in a minute how you can use a cable tie in the same way. Whoops, getting tangled up with my string here. I'm just going to add one more piece of eucalyptus. So just for one single strand there, I've probably used a third of a bunch of eucalyptus, probably not even that actually, probably half a bunch. So yeah, relatively cost-effective way of bringing the outdoors in, really.
We've got a few more ladies joined us. We've got Anne-Marie and also Marsha, who have joined us before. So lovely to see you all.
Thank you for
joining. We've also got Rachel, who says, I'm sorry that I'm late. You don't have to be sorry.
Don't worry.
I love that.
We just love it when you join us. And we love your comments, so do keep coming with those comments and questions. We like to make our live stream flow a bit more when we can answer questions, doesn't it?
You just got me in the background trying to come up with questions.
And then
always got questions though, so don't be worried.
And then I'll get that sort of rabbit caught in the headlines look, and Laura realises she's got to give me another question to keep me talking.
I always think of something.
Sorry about that. I just slammed my scissors down a bit hard on the table there. I probably deafened a few people now. Okay, so just finishing off with that last piece of eucalyptus.
You've got Philomena. Oh, I love that name.
Oh wow, yeah,
Oh,
what
yeah.
a good name. Had some customers with some really interesting names this week, haven't we?
Yeah. We had Venetia.
Yeah.
Did we have Angelica or did we just make that one up? Angelica?
Angelica. Angelica.
Oh, we've got Vicky who asked a great question. How tall are your stands?
Okay, they're quite tall. I would say they're probably 7 foot, 8 foot. Yeah, 8 foot. Yeah, how tall am I?
Yeah.
I'm 5'4". I'm quite short, but my legs do reach the ground. Just.
Oh, we've got a few more questions, Deb. If you're using a metal bar, would you recommend draping it over the bar and wiring it to each other so that you don't see the bar? Ooh,
Yeah, so that was, I mentioned earlier that if you've got a plastic or metal, you could use cable ties. Now, I love cable ties. I think there's nothing you can't achieve with a cable tie and some gaffer tape. That's in my florist toolkit. Yeah, moving on rapidly. Probably shouldn't have said that. Okay, so yeah, you could wire them. So all you need to do is make sure that you securely hook on the end. I will show you. I'm going to climb up in a minute. I'll do a cable tie on the last one, just so you can see how you can do that. In the meantime, I'm going to cause a lot of noise, and I'm going to hammer these into the wall.
Okay. I'd probably recommend just popping your mic on the table.
I'm going to disappear for a moment. A, because I don't want to deafen you with my hammer sounds, and B, I don't want to strangle myself as I get up the ladder. Elegance was never my strong point. So you probably can't hear me now, so I'm going to... Oh, can they?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just pop it gently.
I won't swear then. Okay, so I'm back in the room. So as you can see how we've created that backdrop, the piece that I did with the eucalyptus, you can see what a colour difference that makes just by adding that little extra bit of texture. Just to illustrate using a cable tie, unfortunately because I've used wood here, I don't have a pole to actually hook round, cable tie round. So if you had a metal pole or a plastic pole or something like that, that's how you kind of cable tie it. Now you might just want to finish off your fixing because you've got quite a blunt end there. So you can literally just pop a piece of soft ruscus across the top and finish it.
But no, it does work quite nice. It's really easy to finish it, isn't it? And it's just so easy to use. You could use those nails, or you can use, we've stapled in the past, haven't we?
We have
Obviously
stapled,
with an
yeah.
industrial stapler.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, there's so many different inventive ways that you can use. We've got a few questions, Deb, whilst you were up there, from...
How did she manage to get up there?
From Jennifer, she says, missed the beginning, but she'll catch up.
Right.
If you wanted to add flowers, would you do it when it was all finished, as in one place, all in one piece, and attach it, and then put the flowers on?
Okay, so that's quite an interesting question, to be fair, because it very much depends on what flowers you're using. Personally, if I was doing gypsophila, I would wire the gypsophilate into the garland before I popped it on. If you're putting the garland in situ quite some time in advance, I would then perhaps put all of the individual flowers in the little water files and then just tape them in. Or
so what do you mean, like you put the water files on the garland and then at a later date you put the flowers in the water files?
Or the other way round, you could add the flowers into the water files and then fix them on.
Okay,
again, you can cable tie those or wire them, but again, then that's not biodegradable, so that's just something you need to be aware of.
Yeah.
So I'm just showing another way of finishing this off.
Just ribbon.
So I've just made a bow.
Just like that, eh?
Just a very,
quite quick, you know.
very simple bow.
Keep up with it.
I might be quick in the floristry, but running.
That's a different story, don't worry.
Exactly.
It's just a different skill.
Most definitely, one I don't possess. So, just a simple.
Oh, so you literally knotted that almost, haven't you?
I have, yeah. So just almost like a basic bow. Then a little cable tie you can pop through there, or if you don't want a cable tie it, a piece of string. Just fold the piece of string through the tying point. Can you see what I'm doing there? Sorry.
Indeed, yes.
Excellent.
Yep, the ladies can.
Good.
I say ladies, but there must be a few gentlemen out there. I know we've had Keith and Chris in the past, so they might join us again.
Our gents are very quiet today. They are joining us. Okay.
Oh, we've definitely got Mark watching. I know he's watching.
Hi, Mark. Okay.
Beautiful. I love that ribbon. It's lovely, isn't it?
It is really pretty. So I'm just going to, at the risk again of deafening everybody.
There's no hammer in this, sir?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Well, I don't have to hammer actually. I could cable tie it.
You could cable tie it.
Okay. So we're going up the ladder again. Going up. Just checking I don't stand on my microphone.
Don't want to leave it steady.
Chink.
Let me have a look. Oh, yeah, I've got a few questions about the flowers actually.
Oh, have we?
Oh, we've got Rach, sorry.
Rach.
She's planning to make one of these for her wedding in a few weeks. That's exciting.
Excellent.
So wish her luck. I'm wishing you luck, Rach. You can do it.
You can.
Yeah.
You really can. And the sense of achievement when you've done it for yourself.
Absolutely.
I'm just going to cut that.
No, you're not.
No, I'm not. My scissors aren't here, so I'll just lay that over the back for now. Oops, gone round the wrong way here. There we go. Just because I've tied it, you do actually get the benefit of being able to tweak it slightly.
Would you say string would work well as a cable tie? I suppose it depends on where it's going.
I kind of like to use string because again it's biodegradable. Cable ties are plastic. So coming down as we speak. And then I'm just going to fix that up that end. Now you can, if you want to, sort of bring the drapes through and finish it like that if you wish to. I'm just going to put another bow on the other end.
Lovely.
So just quickly, so you can see how I did it. Just cutting a piece of the organza for my tying point. Just checking that I'm close to the same kind of size as the last one. And then literally just a figure 8 bow, really. And then just pop that tying point round. bit difficult to see what the finished article is looking like at this stage, but
it's still quite fiddly, isn't it? But it wouldn't be as fiddly as, say, if you did a 3mm wire.
no.
Very skilled, Dev's doing it with one hand.
I
need a lot of practice to get that.
I have to say,
knack.
I think that one of the best tools that a florist has is her teeth. Always using my teeth to hold things with. Okay, and then we just cut the end off that. I love this organza because it's got a slight shine and shimmer to it. So when the light catches it, it's got a real sheen to it. So, going up the mountain again.
Oh dear, you really got someone asking a question. Oh, we got lovely Jane. She's back. Hi Jane.
Hi Jane.
Oh, she's just about to go walk into work, so she's going to catch up with us later.
Oh, hope it's not too hot where you're working, Jane. It's so difficult to try and keep cool, isn't it? The studio is so warm this afternoon.
It is. So, in answer to your question, Gail, yes, it's simply one piece of ruscus that we've used to kind of cover the base. It's absolutely fine for our kind of the wood, but obviously you just have to kind of make a judgment call to know how thick your structure is as such and how much you need to cover to know, because you might as such need a bit more or less, you never know. Debbie's getting decorative now.
Yeah, she's getting artist.
Very
artistic.
over there.
I'll just tuck that around there for now.
Lovely. That's another thing we've done in the past, haven't we? We actually use the organza in with the garland.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep, and fairy lights as well.
Oh yeah,
they work really nice, especially for a sort of a winter wedding where your light levels are quite low, so you need to introduce more light if you can by adding
really nice.
fairy lights, battery lights. Good word, Laura. Ambiance. Going very French today.
Lovely.
So there we have it, really. Your wall.
Beautiful. It's very simple, isn't it? But so effective.
I know, obviously, this is a much more condensed version. Not many, but this is more of a doorway rather than a wall, perhaps. But yeah, really easy way and relatively cost effective to actually create huge impact. I'm happy with that. I think that's good. I'm happy with that.
Perfect. Let's come to an end.
Just to let you know, coming up in August, our flower of the month is going to be dahlia. So yeah, keep watching for our dahlias. So yeah, I'm trying to think what to say about dahlias really. We have such an incredible display of dahlias coming up. So do stay tuned for that. And obviously, touching earlier on how hot it is at the moment, bear in mind with your flowers, the poor things, they are going to struggle in this heat. So when you're placing your orders online, you might just want to factor that into your ordering timetable. Obviously, things like lilies, alstroemeria that still need that time to develop, you do need to factor that in. But delicate things like sweet peas, roses, stocks, all that kind of thing, really going to struggle in this heat. So just bear that in mind when you're placing your orders.
If you think how much we're struggling,
absolutely,
then think how much the flowers are struggling as well. So that's, unfortunately, it's going to happen, isn't it?
I mean, to a certain extent, flowers do adjust to their environment, but even so, they are going to need a little helping hand this time of the year. So just bear that in mind. Okay.
We've got one question before we come to an end, Debbie. Vicky, our lovely Australian, has asked, would it be too much if you added, say, flower arrangements to the sides of...
No, absolutely not. That would look beautiful. Yeah, you can buy the little, is it florettis? The little caged oasis, which have like a little hole in the top, so like a paddle container, but they have a caged piece of oasis. Perfect little hole in the top for, guess what, attached with a cable tie. You could, where I've put the bows, you could actually put a really lovely long or even a asymmetric arrangement either side, and that would look beautiful. We actually did do a wedding recently for actually an Australian couple who got married over here in the UK, and they had a square arch, which we did 2 asymmetric arrangements on, and one in the middle, and they had a couple of antlers in the centre. That was so beautiful. So really lovely wedding. So yeah, you could do that. No reason why you can't add antlers. Yeah, so absolutely, flower arrangements would work really, really well.
Perfect. Well, let's finish off.
Okay, so don't forget to like us, don't forget to share us with your friends, and keep commenting because we will still answer questions even though the live stream's finished. Have a fantastic weekend. Try and stay cool if you can. And we look forward to seeing you next week. Bye for now.